It's a forehead. We're in our rooms and we're talking about AI.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the greatest disaster on the internet. It's the Four Heads Podcast. I'm Goldenboy, alongside Reinforce, Bren, and Sideshow. We're here to talk about some crap. If you guys want to subscribe to us on iTunes, do that. Leave a review. Maybe we'll read it on the show. Who knows? If we're feeling spicy, we'll share it. Also, follow us on Spotify and just check us out whenever podcast platform you choose to listen to. Because apparently there's like a million of them.
Yeah, there's so many.
So there's way too many.
I can't believe that many people copied us, dude.
Yeah. So Bren is feeling a little ill today.
Not ill per se, but
not well.
What's happened?
Definitely not well. I've been having an allergic reaction to something for 5 days.
That's pretty intense.
I don't know. I mean, I've had hay fever before, right? I've had pollen and allergies before. Back in the UK, never had it in the US. And I initially thought that it was because I walked outside for an hour and a half and walked past a bunch of suburban gardens. And like the pollen and the springtime pollen, something reacted badly.
And have you never been outside before in Los Angeles?
I've definitely been outside before in Los Angeles. That's what makes it weird, right?
Yeah,
but
it is weird.
Another thing that I need to consider as well, though, is it's been so long since I've owned a cat. I last owned a cat when I was like 16. Maybe I'm allergic to Custer's cats because they were on my bed sleeping. So tonight I'm going to change out my bedding and see if that helps.
That's interesting. Yeah. And then just, I don't know,
But that might be why, because I was outside today reading my book. Granted, I've taken way too much antihistamines, which is very toxic for your body, but I'm taking a mix of cetirizine hydrochloride and loratadine with pseudoephedrine.
Sounds potent.
It's just made me incredibly drowsy. So,
wow. I'm surprised that I didn't have an allergic reaction today because I accidentally headbutted a lily. we were over at Beth's parents, and it was her mum's birthday, and for some reason they had decided that they have a big garden out the back that's full of beautiful flowering plants, and one of them was, it's called like a cata lily or something. Like, it's not exactly a lily, it's some type of lily. I don't have very green fingers.
You're not a botanist.
I'm not a botanist, Alex. Yeah. I'm definitely not. And I couldn't stay awake on the way home, but I had to hold it because it didn't have lilies don't have feet. They just have stalks and they fall over. So I was holding it.
Okay. And
every time I fell asleep, my head just kind of rocked forward, and I would headbutt the lilies every time I went to sleep. So I just got all of this fucking orange lily pollen up my nose, just in my eyes, all over the place, because I kept falling asleep and just going, and just headbutting this lily. It's also incredibly toxic for cats, so I had to wash my face when I got in before I saw the cat. Because otherwise they have to get IV drips and stuff.
So you're just fighting cats at this point. Or no, not fighting cats.
Not fighting cats. Well, my God, I would kill cats. Too. If I headbutted a cat right now, I would kill it, Alex.
Grab Custer's cat and
there are
headbutt it.
So many things I didn't know were toxic to animals.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually like, so apparently like dogs are allergic to like chocolate or something.
Chocolate. You can't have.
That's a pretty well-known
no
one,
idea.
Though.
I could have totally gone to like a dinner and just fed their dog chocolate. Just
dear
God. What?
You like chocolate.
I'm imagining Johnny just force feeding a poodle fucking chocolate pudding. Like, you like that, don't you little bitch?
Come here,
you
little
like
poodle.
that?
Do you like the chocolate here?
You know how it goes, you're like you're at the dinner table, you're eating.
How
whatever,
does it go?
And then dogs are running around and they want to eat some of the food, and you're like, no, you can't have the food because you're a dog. I am eating the food at a nice dinner. But then dessert comes around, and you stumble upon a chocolate bar or whatever. And you're like, oh, I need some chocolate, and then maybe I've had like 5 beers or whatever. I don't know how late this dinner is, and I just like let the dog lick like some chocolate or something because I'm happy and I'm trying to share my food. I wouldn't have known. That
so
it's
many
toxic to
questions.
dogs.
I've also heard of dogs that just snaffle up chocolates like nobody else's business. at Christmas when you leave chocolates out underneath a tree or something, and they just get into them and they just eat them all. But if apparently it's the darker chocolate that's worse. So if you get into like the crappy chocolate that's basically just chalk with sugar,
milk chocolate,
that's probably all right. I'm not saying feed it to them, but that's apparently better.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
You know, raisins and grapes are also poisonous, Johnny.
Grapes, yeah,
they're poisonous for dogs. They can result in kidney failure.
I think I would actually think twice before I fed a dog raisin. More than
Really?
because raisins they're a bit tricky.
Okay.
I kind of did something.
No,
I shouldn't have done.
It's like alien food.
You can't give dogs onion either.
Really? I didn't know that.
Really? I did not know
Not that. I mean,
Okay,
what
if
kind
a-
of
if a
sick
dog-
fuck feeds a dog onion anyway?
Well,
If
sometimes.
the dog eats the raw
Okay,
onion,
so-
then like get rid of that dog.
So listen. Sometimes we would feed the leftovers of like the spaghetti bolognese to like the dogs, and that has onions in.
I see.
Right. What? Even that
Oh,
very
be careful,
tiny amount
okay.
of onion, even once
No,
it's cooked.
it's not as bad as grapes, but it is quite bad for them.
So about grapes.
If
Oh,
if
what
a
did you
dog-
do, Alex?
No. Everything's okay. It's just that when I lived in California, Cynthia used to work at the SPCA, and which is like the
No, what is the SPCA?
I forget
Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Is that it?
I think that's what it is. Yeah,
Right.
I think that's what
SPCA.
it is. SPCA, yeah. But it's they take in dogs and cats and all sorts of animals, and it's a great little place. Anyway, so Cynthia worked there, and she used to get calls all the time because she worked in the call center where people can call if they had questions about like issues with their dog or schedule appointments, since they had like a cheap clinic there. And one time I was at home, I was staying home, and Stella, our lovely dog Stella, she was looking at me eat some grapes, and I didn't know, so I was like, "Oh, come here, baby, I'll give you a little grape." So I gave her a grape, and then I was like, "Huh, can she eat grapes?" So then I called Cynthia, and I was like, "Hey, babe, random question. I don't think it's a big deal, but like, should dogs eat grapes?" And then she's like, "What? You fed Stella a grape?" It's like, yeah. It was just a green grape. She's like, "You can't do that. That's so bad for them." And she was like going through like a million reasons as to why it was bad. And then I was like, "Oh boy, this is terrible." So I called out of work. I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna stay home." Because I was I could just stay home and work from home. So I did that, and then she was okay. She was fine. But Cynthia definitely had reservations about leaving her alone with me moving forward after
Just
that.
didn't trust you anymore.
Yeah. And then there was another time where I left gum on the counter, on our bed counter, and not bed counter. What is it? The bed table, the night table.
Right,
whatever.
nightstand.
Sure. And then I left gum there. And then Stella kind of sort of had a really good time with it. I mean, she was minty fresh after she got through with that. Don't know if gum is bad for dogs. I'm fairly certain it is. But she's still alive and kicking.
Dude, imagine before Google, dog owners would just feed their dog shit and be like, "Oh, it died."
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
They wouldn't know. There's no
my
way
mom-
to look it up. It's like you can't open a newspaper and just like, "Oh, dogs can't eat grapes." Like,
I dead ass
You're ruined.
believe Hispanic moms just don't give a fuck, and they just do whatever, and it works. My dog Max lived until he was 18 years old. He was a Shih Tzu, and it's not very common for a Shih Tzu to live until 18, right?
Right.
My mom just fed him fucking pedigree. That's all she gave him, and then whatever food was on the table. Okay, that dog was living by the sheer willpower and desire of eating the food that was on the table. That is that. And Max, I love him to death. He was my dog. He was the best. But boy, oh boy, he went to the end, and it's shocking. Meanwhile, we're over here like making sure Stella doesn't have grain. Meanwhile, feeding her grapes. But we're doing all these different things, make sure she's okay. There's like so many preventative measures now. Dogs have allergies and blah blah blah, and you gotta like make sure. My mom's like, "Yo," he's like, "Okay, we'll get the pedigree. Okay, here you go." And the fucking wet food. It's like unbelievable.
Well, some dogs also just don't have problems. And also, actually, I think this is something that I've noticed more as I've grown up, is that I just didn't notice shit when I was young. Like, I'm sure my parents had all sorts of issues that just went shoof completely over my head when I was a kid. But because it seems like they cared more about stuff as I grew older. But I don't think that was the case. I think they always cared about shit. I just couldn't tell because I was in my own little dumb kid world.
What do you mean about shit?
Yeah,
About
what do
like,
you mean?
so about like foods or politics or the dog or whatever, about like actually having discussions about things and debates about whether they're doing the right thing or not. When you're a kid, you just, I think, view your parent as this oracle of knowledge and goodness, and it seems like they always know exactly what they have to do at every situation. They never have like an internal discussion or dialogue in their head.
Wait, what age is this? Because I don't have that.
When I was like,
I don't have that recollection at all.
what, you don't have a recollection of your parents just knowing what the fuck they were doing?
No. I'm saying, like, I grew up in an environment where people were like had strong beliefs, and I was definitely like at the dinner table when serious matters were being discussed.
Yeah, but
was that what you were talking about?
no, not really. I mean, stuff
No,
like,
it's like when you get sick or something like that, and it's like your mom just always knows like how to make you feel better, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
you know, whenever there's like a problem that you know
Yeah.
maybe there's like something broke or whatever. Like
When
my
I was
mom just
drunk,
always
she was like,
knew.
have some water.
I agree with you. My mom always knew everything, and me and Cynthia actually had this conversation because I think like my mom was cooking, and she makes this rice, and it's arroz con dule. It's incredible, bro. It is like rice, beans. It is the best damn thing. One day I'll bring some for you guys.
yeah,
Deadass.
okay.
And she just knows how to make it. She doesn't look at a recipe book. She doesn't
Yeah.
do it. She just fucking
Yeah.
takes out this cauldron. She's just making it, and it's done.
But at
And
some
then, like,
point,
she cut her finger, and she's like, "Oh, I know exactly what to do." It's like shit like that.
but
you
at
know?
some
Like, you
point
just
they
know.
had to learn that, right? Like they were human
Exactly.
beings. They had to learn it. So it's more likely they learned it when you were a kid. But because that was, when they were younger as well. But it seemed like they
Yeah.
knew more when you were a kid. Because
Yeah.
you're now in a position where you can kind of see the thought process that goes on behind everything.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
shit. Like I'm
I
like
can.
I'm just so set on that, bro.
Yeah.
If something bad happens and I don't have Google, bro, I'm screwed.
Well,
I'm
when you
so
say
screwed.
that, I'm just like, yeah, it would have been cool because I love pasta and I love making my own pasta. And I'm like, what if I could make my own pesto? Like that would be sick.
Oh,
I have no freaking idea. I barely know what's in pesto. It's
Why
like
just-
garlic,
why don't you just
some
Google
green
it?
shit, some
Garlic?
nuts.
Oh, you could
Yeah,
put, you
there's-
could put
I
a
I
little
mean,
garlic in there.
basil,
Yeah.
parmesan, and pine nuts are the three main ingredients of a pesto.
You can also add a
There
little
you
bit of
go.
garlic for some
yeah,
added
yeah.
flavor.
I mean,
though.
sure you
Yeah.
can.
Why don't you just Google it?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm saying, but I
The
haven't.
point is that not to talk
The
about
point
that.
is, I haven't had to learn it because I just go
Oh.
buy pesto at the store.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I just learned while you were talking. I'll be
Uh-huh.
honest with you. I've been in my own little world.
I know.
I don't
we-
know
we
how,
went-
That's our
I don't
favorite.
know
That's
how
what
I've
we like
got
about you,
here.
Bren.
but you start to. Oh, here's how I got here. You were talking about your dog, and it reminded me of my dog. And I was like, last night I was in bed, and I was thinking, I want a dog. I do want a dog, but I can't get one because of the traveling, and I
Yeah.
don't know where I'm going to be living.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So it's not right to get a dog.
But
But
a portable dog.
I was thinking, what dog do I want?
Portable dog.
A
like
portable
an
dog.
iDog.
Like a small dog. I'm not a huge fan of small dogs. Like if I had a choice, I get a medium to large sized dog.
Yeah, like a Jindo kind of thing. Yeah.
But I was looking up different dogs, and I've come across the history of the Australian cattle dog, and it's a very interesting one because
Go
not a
on.
lot of dogs have gone through this breeding process.
Please
Is
teach
it
us.
ambidextrous?
So essentially, when people immigrated to, I've only just registered what you said, Johnny. I'm actually so out of it.
I love you, bro.
When people immigrated to Australia from England, they realized there was a bunch of land and it's prime for raising cows for the beef industry because there's so much free land. Like you can raise cattle so easily compared to England where they came from.
Mhm.
But they needed herding dogs for that. So they imported over a bunch of dogs called Smithfields, which is kind of like a herding dog. And what they found were that they just couldn't cope because they couldn't cope with the high temperature. The terrain was rougher than they were used to, and the distance that they had to cross was just ridiculous. So the dogs just couldn't really cope with it. So what the Australian cattle ranchers did, they bred them with dingoes.
Really?
Which I find really interesting. Yeah. They crossed them with dingoes. So, which is, if you don't know what a dingo is, it's a feral breed of canine native to Australia, and New Zealand and Tasmania, I think, as well. Maybe not New Zealand, but they crossed them with dingoes, and so they started working towards basically crossing a bunch of dogs. So they worked in a bit of the Scottish Highlander collie, a dingo, the Smithfields, but where they perfected it when they bred them with Dalmatians, because Dalmatians are really good at protecting. They're very easy to work with horses. So and they're very good with just working out in farms and whatnot. And what they came to was this perfect dog for working with horses, with cattle, and coping with the high temperatures of Australia.
Bro, that's like Pokemon breeding, dude.
I think this is sick though, and and the Australian cattle dogs are one of the healthiest dogs in the world, with very little genetic
I'm
problems.
looking at a picture of one of these dogs, and I mean, they're freaking beautiful, man.
Yeah, they're a lovely dog, right? And yeah, they lived some of the longest of all time. The record is currently held by an Australian cattle dog, which is 29 years.
I should fucking hope that the record for the longest lived cattle dog is held by a cattle dog.
Sorry, it was the longest lived dog, but yeah.
Oh, the longest lived dog, right.
Yeah, life expectancy 12 to 16 years.
Yeah.
their
temperament is alert, curious, and present.
Maybe we should breed other things with dingoes, like a
Bren.
sheep. Like if you wanted a wily sheep that would live longer.
What is the name of the canine that went extinct in Madagascar?
In Madagascar?
Yeah.
Do you mean the
Yeah, a thylacine?
Yeah. I can't exactly remember it.
Wow.
Thylacine.
That's what it's called.
I guess Shih Tzus, their life expectancy is 10 to 18 years. So I guess Max just beat that shit out.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up.
Oh, they're in Tasmania.
Yeah,
Sorry,
they're in Tasmania, not Madagascar. Because they were
Madagascar's miles away.
They were
what is it?
driven out by dingoes.
What is it, Johnny?
Oh my god, I haven't been listening at all. I went to dingo on Wikipedia.
What is the point of a podcast if no one listens?
And I don't know why, but apparently it said it was related to the New Guinea singing dog. And I was like, this is a breed called singing dog. And I was like, what? Why the hell are they called singing dogs? So I went on a search to see what singing dog sounds like. And ladies and gentlemen, here's a New Guinea singing dog in the document.
All right, let me...
Hold on, I'm going to click on this.
Which one is it?
Whoa!
This one?
I mean, that ain't any singing I've ever heard of.
Yo, that's crazy.
This is in the San Diego Zoo. Oh my.
It's hitting like overtones and undertones. It's harmonizing with itself. But to call the howling singing is a bit of a long shot. They've got a great PR person, the New Guinea singing dog. Imagine getting sold a singing dog and ended up with that howling motherfucker.
Yo, the comments are great. I'll wait till the album comes out. Me when someone eats the last slice of garlic bread.
Oh my god.
But isn't that interesting though, that we've taken dingoes and mixed them with other dogs, and now we've got this dog?
It is, yeah.
I find that very interesting.
What if they mix Yorkies and singing dogs?
I mean,
The
yeah.
Yorkies.
Why? Do you know what, Jonathan? You could do it. You could be a singing dog breeder.
Maybe that's your end game, Johnny. You're just a singing
Well, like
dog
Hugo's breed.
Yeah.
You mixed Hugo with the Australian.
Yeah,
How would that even work?
Hugo could sing?
Hugo's just a toy. Hugo's not a real.
Hugo would get ripped
animal.
to pieces by that big dingo
I don't want.
dick.
Can we leave this topic immediately? Abandon.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to
Abandon.
talk about dog fucking, Johnny? Is that something you don't want to talk about?
Well, we will be demonetized without cursing.
Yeah,
We're
that's
gonna
true.
be demonetized anyway. It does. Okay,
Uh.
doggy daycare, doggy doo doo. There you go. That's what you talk about.
Oh
Jesus.
man, alive.
Lord have mercy. All right.
Oh my God, we've crossed.
So there has been a lot of conversation. We're now going to get into. Well, actually, wait, no. I did want to. This is going to be a segue before we get into serious conversation. There's a link in there, comicbook.com. Bring it up real fast.
Okay.
I just want to read this. IHOP introduces new cereal pancakes, including
What?
cinnamon toast crunch and crunch berries. If
What
you go to IHOP and you eat one of these pancakes, let us know. I won't eat it because I value my life. But if you happen to go and eat one of these pancakes,
Is this
please
real?
give us a review. This is real. This is America.
That is so
Okay.
strange.
This is America.
Now available now through April 12th. You can get a stack of pancakes topped with either cinnamon toast crunch, crunch berries, or Lucky Charms. Ooh, actually, Lucky Charms doesn't sound bad. With complimentary toppings.
I mean, have you
Uh,
scrolled down and looked at the photo? Because that looks abhorrent.
Yeah, it doesn't look very nice.
Imagine
But I'm-
saying, no, thank you. I don't want lovely fruit all over my pancakes. I would like you to cover it in highly sweetened grain produce. What?
Shaped as berries, though.
That doesn't
I-
make it
I'm
any
not-
healthier.
I mean, that looks appealing to children.
Yes.
But why would you
What?
feed a child
But-
that?
Well, America is why,
Yeah.
because they don't know any better.
Dude, it's terrible. It's really
Yeah.
bad. But there you go. So if you happen to eat one of these pancakes, bless you. 1, 2, give us a review. We would like to hear it. Share with us on YouTube. All right, moving on to the subject that has everyone going crazy. Now everyone is a pro and a caster and a host for Valorant, the
Yeah.
new game from
Who are
Riot.
these casters?
I don't know, genuinely. I have no idea. But like I'm seeing it all over the place. I see people putting Valorant on their profiles now. The
I mean,
Valorant casters.
I can respect the hustle, but I didn't even have the gall to call myself an Overwatch caster when I was already casting Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember introducing myself to the Blizzard EU people as, yeah, I'm a TF2 caster, and Mitch was there. Mitch was like, no, don't listen to him. You cast Overwatch.
Yeah.
The game's not even out, and these people, what are they doing? Casting over the 2-minute footage that they've released over and over again.
I think
No idea.
I think that people had genuinely put in their profiles that they were pro players, right? I don't think
Yes.
anyone's actually put that they are being casters, but Monty had an interesting
I have
tweet.
seen one or two. I have seen
Really?
one or
You
two.
have?
I won't call them out because
Wow.
I don't want to be that guy, but I have seen one or two. And for the 1 or 2 people that have that in their profile, take it out.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. But go on. What were you saying?
Well, Monty had a tweet yesterday where he said, let me bring it up on the screen, actually. It says, it's absolute madness behind the scenes, the number of casters convinced they're going to transition to Valorant. Considering we don't even know Riot's esports plans or how good or popular the game will be, probably not the greatest idea to going all in. And it is crazy. Like, the amount of people who... I mean, it's all well and good to be like really hyped about a game and try and get in on the ground floor and all of that kind of stuff, but you don't want to abandon your
Josh.
current
Wait,
job or anything.
Wait, I unplugged my headset.
This
Okay, go.
advice is specifically for you as well, Bren. So you better plug your headset back in.
It's plugged. It's plugged.
So many people are trying to just go like all in, right, and just abandon what was previously their job or what they were trying to do and that kind of stuff.
On one end, I get it. Right. I think, if you look at Overwatch and you look at a lot of the talent that came into Overwatch, a lot of us came from different games. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Matt from COD, me from I don't know what. You guys from TF2. Then you got Mitch was doing CS.
Yeah.
Monty and Doa League. Same thing for Wolf and Achilleo. So it's like I get it.
But at that
And if
point, you could just say that we just had experience. Because if you have experience, you must have been working in a previous game. And so people are always going to say that you come from somewhere. You know?
Yeah.
But
no, I'm not denying that, but I think like a lot of these people that are trying to like establish a foothold in it early on, it's it's their attempt to just try and be like you said, get on the ground floor, but just be like, yo, I'm here and I'm present right now. It's a risky gamble. It's not something I would do personally. See, I'm excited for the game because it reminds me of Shadowrun, which is like one of my favorite games of all time. That's why I'm excited for it. And I'm engaged with it because of those reasons, not because I have some delusions that I'll be a commentator or host or whatever for Valorant. And listen, I'm famous as shit. So there's a reality that they're gonna shoot me a call. And that's fine. And when duty calls, Goldenboy answers, guys.
Really?
Goldenboy answers. I'm a global icon and a national treasure.
So you
entertainer
keep
of
telling
millions
us.
across the world.
I'm not gonna
So-
lie. I would watch a Goldenboy superhero movie.
A Goldenboy superhero movie.
I would too.
Like if you co-starred in like a rock movie, like I would be down.
What would he be doing?
I mean,
Can you invent a role for him, Jonathan? Because I can't think. I can't picture it.
I could be his Puerto Rican Kevin Hart.
you're comedic
No,
relief.
we call like the Cannonball.
You,
The
The
cannonball.
cannonball.
Because I'm shapely.
I
Because I'm
Just
shapely.
run through
No.
people.
I see him more like the new Spider-Man films.
Yeah, in the Spider-Verse.
You're the Asian kid who hangs around with him.
Who's the
Okay,
Asian
so
kid that
am
hangs
I
around with him?
Asian?
No, but that was what the Asian kid fulfills, like the comedic relief role alongside him, right?
Yeah, but Goldenboy's not funny, so that's
A
gonna.
little.
Oh,
I got
he's
fire
lost his
tonight.
neck. Alex
What?
lost his neck in reaction to
What?
that.
What?
What happened?
Oh my god, that should be a
Just a
comedian.
sick burn.
I died.
Valorant
Yeah.
though. Valorant. What do you
Valorant,
think
though.
about the game? What do you think about the name itself? Because before you even consider anything else, the name is really weird. It's capitalized in terms of the Twitter name and stuff, and it just seems strange. It's a strange name.
What's an Overwatch?
I don't know. I also think that Overwatch itself, although that does roll off the tongue a lot better than Valorant, I think that
I actually think Valorant sounds okay.
You think?
Valorant,
Third form of Valorant.
to me, it rolls.
you think it
excuse me,
rolls
to
off
me,
the
it rolls
tongue.
off the tongue. Yeah, I think Valorant. Like it sounds fine to me. For when I read it though, I thought it said Valorant, and then I was like, okay, Valorant. I don't know what the hell a Valorant is.
Well, I
But
mean,
now that
yeah,
I
you
say
don't know how to
Valorant-
pronounce it, right? When you first see it.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm an idiot. But obviously, like, now that I'm not an idiot, or less of, it makes sense. Makes sense to me.
I really don't know what to think about it.
Is
I
Valorant
don't-
even a word?
I don't think
I'm
so.
trying to- I'm
I
trying
don't
to
think
look-
it is,
It
right?
said it was a
Valorant.
verb form of the word Valorar, but I can't find what Valorar.
Oh, Valora is like it's another language. I just looked that up. But like you would
Yeah.
think it would be, you'd call somebody Valorant. But what does Valorant mean? That's just brave, right? Courageous.
I
you
guess,
would
yeah.
use other words.
I just find it weird, okay, that if you were one of the largest game dev companies in the world and you wanted to make, I mean, in my mind, this game is a shot to make tactical shooters like mainstream,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't make sense why you would make a complicated name for that mainstream game. Why wouldn't you make something?
I don't
that's
think
more
this name is
memorable?
complicated though. This name is not complicated
No, but
at
like
all.
people will be like Valorant, like just that's
Okay,
just
wait there.
one of those nerd thingies.
Compare it to other like major video game titles. Like it's way more complex and fantasy sounding than Call of Duty, Halo, Overwatch, Team Fortress. Like these are all normal words that
Right,
get
but, I
co-opted
think
for the video game. This is going in a very different
When-
direction.
When these names were being made, they weren't thinking about search engine optimization.
No.
They should.
I think they probably considered that, like Valorant. Who the fuck was typing that in?
Yeah, nobody.
Exactly. So when you type in Valorant, you know what you're getting. But it makes it very
Same
easy.
thing with
to-
Overwatch. Honestly.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
exactly where you know where you're getting with that. Well, yeah. I mean, so I think I understand it. I'm just I don't think it's like that bad, and I actually
I
think
don't think it's that bad.
I think it's a pretty decent name for a game. Like I'm trying to find what the story bits were because I thought it was on the website, but I guess it isn't. But the basically like from what I understand, it's like an agency of people that come from different walks of life. So you may have criminals and you may have soldiers and you have like so many different people. So it's a little like Overwatch, which is kind of like the crux of like every single hero shooter. Um, with that, and then I think moving aside from like what the story is, I feel like and what really matters to the people who are listening to this particular podcast is the gameplay,
Yeah.
and also how it looks. And I'm gonna be very blunt. I said this on my stream the other day, and I kind of stand by it. I'm curious to see where they go with the art direction of the game, because right now, yes, the character models look pretty good, and the character design is quite interesting. But what's really kind of like throwing me off right now are the ability designs, like in the artwork on that, because a lot of it's like smoke but different color, and that kind of is all I'm seeing.
I
right?
like it. It's cartoony. It's not covering your screen in particle effects. It's
wish it had more detail.
But detail means particle effects, means difficulty being able to see things. The way that they've stylized the smokes is like it looks like you're watching an anime or something, and it's like anime flames or whatever, and it's very simple cartoon graphics, which I think will appeal. I mean that's like it's like Fortnite. It's not Fortnite graphics, but it's like if someone Fortniteized Overwatch and CS:GO and blended them together.
But look at Fortnite though. Like Fortnite, even then, they're like explosions and different things like that. Like they have simplistic detail, but detail nonetheless. This is literally just a series of pastel colors.
No, like, the detail in the maps are sometimes quite beautiful.
No, and I'm not talking about the maps. The maps actually are fine. I'm talking specifically about the abilities. The abilities that I've been seeing the people throwing out there, like the smoke screen, that weird thing that was like green and blue, that
decay.
You got the decaying field, the ice wall. Like there just isn't like the ice wall. Again, it just had like rough edges. I'm like, why did it need to have such rough edges? Like, was that essential? Is that a part of the story? Like, I'm just curious,
So I sort of agree with you, but at the same time, to me, it's all about the fact that it's not even in beta yet. And like, I have no doubt in my mind that a lot is going to improve over time. I have such ridiculous faith in Riot making this like a great game. The fact of the matter is just like Riot has so many resources, and they're trying to become like the leading game dev company in the world. And like, there's no doubt in my mind that they would just improve animations, graphic quality, map, looks, like everything.
I
over
think
time.
They're
not going to give up on this project for like 5 years.
No. This thing that we're watching as well, this gameplay trailer that was released with the devs talking over the top of it, is probably really old footage too.
Yeah, for
sure.
It
might be,
You think?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is probably pretty old footage because the release date.
Why would they provide old footage instead
that
of
a
like
lot
what looks best for the public? If you're doing a first release, you want to do the best possible looking footage.
No, I think if you say it's
common.
in an alpha, then you want to provide something that is going to get better over time. You want to continue to make it look like it's improving to show the developmental process.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you might be right. But what the idea that came into my mind is it would be interesting to go back and watch the early impressions of like Tracer and stuff when they revealed that, because obviously Overwatch has changed a ton since then. Like even until launch, like it changed massively in like the beta and whatever.
And it's also who's playing it too, right? Not to take anything away from the Riot people that were playing the game, but obviously when you watch someone like Sebiobi run around as Tracer, it is a much different view than watching a dev run around as Tracer. You can see it in the gameplay. And if you put this game in the hands of someone like Simple, for example, the game will look completely different in comparison to what we saw in that video, The Round. But that being said, though, I appreciate the fact that Riot released a video that was just comms. It was just comms and people talking. It wasn't like fake. You could tell that people were just genuinely having fun. I'm sure. And I think even one of the other videos, they were cursing too.
Oh yeah,
there was cursing. So
they
like,
bleeped it out, but they were cursing.
Yeah, exactly. But again, you could just clearly tell that there is there's like a raw feel that they want to have with the reveal of this game, and I think they definitely achieved that mission because now literally everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
But there
If
was
there's
I was just gonna say
thing-
one thing.
Sorry,
but go ahead, Johnny.
No, you do it.
Okay, real quick. I was talking to ZP, and he had an interesting like perspective on it, but he was quoting someone else, and basically it was like, if it wasn't Riot and they came out with something like this, if it was anyone other than Riot, would people be caring this much about this game?
No, but I think that's a super reasonable take, because you just look at the amount of time and resources they put into League of Legends early on. Like, oh my God, I remember like 2011, 2012, like people were looking at League of Legends was like, this is trash. And then it just took off in like a casual community way. Like everyone in my high school were talking about League of Legends, they were grinding, and I was like, no, like I'm a Dota 2 guy, I'm not a League of Legends guy. And then League of Legends just took off, and like then they started investing in LCS. Like before the LCS, they were hosting League of Legends at like DreamHacks and ESLs and MLGs, right? So it was one of us. And then over time, Riot just invested so much into it. And I think you have to apply that similar concept to Riot now because of their prior experiences with League of Legends. So I completely understand that. I mean, if a game like Diabotical was released by Riot, I think we'd be looking at Diabotical in a different way rather than like an indie games dev studio. But I think it's a perfectly reasonable take.
Well, what's wrong with that? That's what I would say.
What do you mean?
What's wrong with
Riot?
What's wrong with what?
I mean, what's wrong with ZP's like?
Well, no, he was paraphrasing somebody else. He was paraphrasing somebody else. I was just
whoever it was. They're like, if this wasn't made by Riot, nobody would be talking about it.
So
I mean, sure, but maybe that's
go ahead.
Maybe that's part of the reason why people are so excited for it in the first place, though, is because there have been CS clones. There's a cat behind you, Josh.
Cat, dude.
There you
That's
go.
so good. That's Bren's worst enemy.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know yet. How do you tell if you're allergic to cats?
Put one in your face, and if you start to itch, you're allergic to cats.
Okay. I'm gonna.
I mean, obviously, be careful. I don't think that's like scientific advice, obviously, but
no, but it's one way to find out, so I gotta do it. But I think because Riot's making it, the reason it has so much hype is people know it's going to be successful in Asia. People know it's going to be successful around the world. Like because League of Legends is popular all around the world, with the exception of Russia, I think. But even then, people play it in Russia, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean,
like Riot have a foothold in almost every major country. They've been working on a bunch of different games, waiting for something new to come out, and Josh has got a cat.
Did you? There was a post actually on competitive Overwatch that was pretty interesting. It was about the PC bong, and obviously it was one of those doom and gloom things for Overwatch. But the context that I kind of want to position this is like just Riot's utter dominance. It's ridiculous. Like, holy moly, they
what
they
the
had.
heck?
Oh my goodness gracious!
The cat sat on the keyboard and played the video.
But yeah, like I think it's like PC bongs in South Korea, League of Legends is played 50% of the time. Like 50%, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's wild. The next game was, I think, Overwatch or PUBG. It was PUBG at like 13 and Overwatch at 10. But that is insane.
Yeah. That's why it was so crazy when Overwatch took over League of Legends in the PC bongs. And I think that the same thing will be paid attention to for Valorant as well, because that's another great part about like why this isn't just a CSGO clone or something, is because Riot actually does have the reach to be able to push this into North America, Europe, and the whole of Asia as well. It can really take off as a global esport in the way that CS has only really been able to do within the last couple of years, harness that Asian market, and not in a huge way as well. Yeah, I think also, though, the argument that this game wouldn't stand up on its own without being produced by Riot doesn't make too much sense at all, because part of having a game be successful is having a ton of people play it. Like, it's not fun to play a game where there's no one else queuing because you just can't play the matchmaking services. Like, actually having thousands and hundreds of thousands of people playing the game at once is part of what makes a game successful, because that makes it more fun to play.
Yeah, which should be an argument to be made why no other clones of CSGO have really kicked off other than in Asia, right?
Yeah, not
and
only are they
even
not
then-
well supported in terms of the developer side, but they just don't have
Yeah.
the player base to be able to function as a multiplayer game.
Yeah, and now with Valorant being, this, I mean, already a juggernaut, everyone is like just so damn excited for this game, and that's why so many people are trying to jump ship. So I think it kind of goes back to the earlier point where it's like, I think it's because it's Riot, it's because of what they've done for so many. If you're a caster for talent, if you're a player, look, I'm not a League of Legends expert. I know that there's a lot that I would love to learn about that game, and there's just such a deep and rich history there. But I don't know what they've done for their tier 3 and tier 2 scenes. I know that they have tier 2 with their academy stuff, but clearly there's new talent coming up, right? Like, at the very least, that's what I'm seeing, that there is new talent coming up, albeit not the fastest, but it's still coming up. So I think that a lot of people are looking at Valorant with the same lens that they saw Overwatch with, and we're gonna see the usual suspects making their way into Valorant. By I mean usual suspects, I'm talking about the displaced Quake Pro players or the tier 2 Overwatch people, the
Yeah.
Counter-Strike guys that, maybe didn't really find success and are stuck in MDL, especially now with franchise leagues for Counter-Strike. You can
Yeah.
bet your ass that a lot of those people that were stuck in those teams that were fighting for a spot in EPL or Face It or whatever, they're going to try, or ECS, like they're going to try and just compete in Valorant, because why continue to beat a dead horse if it ain't getting you anywhere?
Apex
think
as
that-
well. A lot of the Apex players, I think, will
I think
consider moving
Apex.
over.
I think Apex will be okay because their pro scene hasn't really. They haven't had an event yet. I mean, the major comes up in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think
Oh, it
that's
does?
why it's not going to be. I mean, I say it's not going to be okay. I mean, I think there's enough players to go around that no scene is going to die because a new game is released. But I think a lot of those Apex players have the time to be able to try out a game like this and see whether they go
for sure.
somewhere in it.
I'm excited
Yeah.
to see the Fortnite kids that are going to transition to Valorant, because what people don't realize is that these kids are out there playing Kovacs every day and working on their aim. You best believe that some of these kids are going to play Valorant.
Yeah,
I-
but
I
it's a bit
think-
different aim though, right?
I
It's like,
don't think it even matters, right?
it's more about game sense and smarts. Like when I play CS:GO, it's all about like where is my opponent. It's about
Crosshair placement.
yeah, crosshair placement, or, walking around corners, utility usage. Like it's a tactical shooter for a reason. There's a lot of tactical elements in it. Like we were playing some this week, and just the fact that you get like trade for your teammate is such a huge concept that like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it sounds dumb, but it's like there's a lot that goes into
Yeah,
it.
it
that-
sounds dumb
I
until you
think,
play with someone that doesn't understand how to trade. Jaws.
Yeah.
Jaws somewhere in this house. Just
But-
baiting me like a motherfucker every time I push B.
I actually think some people that play like Overwatch are like some of the best aimers around, because that is truly aiming. It's not as much like
I will
Says
say
the Reinhardt player.
I will say though, I think talent will just showcase itself regardless of what game people play. Like the amount of pro players I've played with, and they just dominate on every game that they
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah.
There's just a certain ability of some people to just pick up games and just really do well with them.
Yeah.
I like. It doesn't matter if you come from Fortnite. Like fucking Dante came from Minecraft, bro.
Yeah.
Dante's a sick
Yeah.
player. You know, you
Yeah.
can't. I don't think you can look at a game too close, but yeah.
Do you
Yeah, that
think
was evident with Karma from Call of Duty. I watched him play Fortnite with a keyboard and mouse, and he was just crapping on everybody. And this guy plays Call of Duty with a controller. He plays Counter-Strike like a beast. Like, he's just good at everything he does. But yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
if you had to guess at at Riot's plans for Valorant as an esport, because I think a lot of people are going to be guessing about this kind of stuff as it moves forward. It was something that Monty alluded to as well. Do you think they go the same way as Overwatch League did, where they try and launch an LCS-like product immediately for it? Or do you think they allow the ESLs, the DreamHacks of the world, to build this up slowly and figure out whether it is as popular as they believe it can be before they implement a
Who's
big
Valorant
product
going
like that?
after? Who's Valorant going? What is the games
CS.
market going after? CS. So what is the model that you're going to want to operate?
The open
want
system, presumably.
The open system.
Yeah.
You want to do the open system.
That's
I
what
think
my bet is.
This is going to be early days league, all right, where you were getting
Uh oh.
Oh no.
all
Alex.
these What happened? I'm
Okay,
here.
you just lagged for a sec.
Uh-oh. No,
Okay,
I got
you're
you.
back,
Good.
you're back.
Okay. This is oh yeah, I'm seeing it. This is early days League of Legends where you were getting MLG, IPL, ESL, all these different companies operating these events. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to let this go on for a while. And if they notice that there's stagnation, then I think like stagnation isn't like the events aren't getting better or no one's like really putting much effort into it. Then I think Riot's going to step in and either create a circuit, which I think they might do right away anyway, make a circuit. But then the next thing is I think they'll go to a franchise league if they feel like it is necessary.
I agree that it would make the most sense, especially if you're trying to make your esports sustainable. However, playing devil's advocate, I could see them trying to capitalize on the hype the game is generating even before launch. And like there are probably tons of teams that are willing to put in a lot of money in the game, not even knowing how good it is. So maybe if you wanted to generate revenue, the safer option would be to just start not a franchise league, perhaps, but like at least something of substance to get teams to buy in and from there want to improve the quality of the product. Because then at least you have teams invested before the hype dies down if it's not good, you know. If there's a small risk, you know, we don't know.
I think Riot's going to be very confident that they can make the game very popular. I think
you know, we saw Artifact, so I'm just saying there are cases.
Oh yeah,
where...
and I mean, and TFT as well to some extent, right? Like TFT is pretty big, but it's not a huge esport. There's not going to be a TFT LCS at any point in the future. But I think this game is different.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
and
you look at
the VC money out there is insane right now.
It is, but I think it'll be even more insane in a couple of years if they start to launch a franchise tournament at that point. I think there's way more problems with launching something franchise straight off the bat. Like, you don't even know who the players are. You're just locking them in for a year. It makes no sense at the beginning.
I'll also say if you look at the history, I mean, I think, you know, as much as I've loved working on the Overwatch League, one of the, I think, biggest gaffes and mess ups of Blizzard's end with this whole thing was strangling third-party TOs and not allowing them to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
We had an entire offseason with literally nothing going on besides the World Cup.
Yeah.
That was it. And then we were left with 2 months, 3 months of nothing. And like, you could have easily had just supported third-party TOs to be able to run tournaments and then have fun matches where you can have Korean contenders, like, you know, whatever the teams are out there right now, because the names are all out there. And then Overwatch League teams and NA contenders teams and EU contenders teams. Like, you could have had everyone just compete in these tournaments, but instead you close the system off so much that you just don't have anything going on. And like, I get it. You want to have an off season. I get it. Players want to have off seasons too. That's why you let the guys who are on the bench start for those teams. It's literally what preseason football or you know, like G League shit. Like, that's just what that's for. It's just to give people like those opportunities to be able to do stuff. And it's very frustrating. And it bothers the hell out of me when it comes to Overwatch, because like, there could be so many sick events and also opportunities for other people to be able to shine, but we just don't get it because the system's so closed. Yeah. I don't want Valorant to do that. I don't want a closed system. I want to be able to see, you know, open competition.
Yeah.
And you know, if that, I know that like investors don't want that though, right? Like, these teams don't want that because they don't want to get relegated. And I mean, I come from a different time where I personally feel like if you ain't good enough, you shouldn't be playing. But, you know, whatever.
I think there's definitely some middle room there as well, isn't there? Like, you can still have one. As the game builds up, you allow third-party tournament organizers to run tournaments. You try and see who the best players are. You have some open-level competition. A few years into the game, if it really is popping off, then you start to make moves towards some kind of Riot-run LCS kind of system or some kind of franchise league or whatever. And then in the off-season, you can still run other events like the ESL majors or whatever if you wanted to. That's a possibility. Like, that could still happen. I feel like if Overwatch wanted to, and if tournament organizers thought that it was beneficial for them as well, that the Overwatch events could still run in the off season, but they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get where
yeah.
GB is coming from. And to add to that point, just a theoretical idea, I do wonder how if Overwatch would be different now if Overwatch League started in 2017 rather than 2018. Because 2016 we had a like great year, release, whatever. 2017 there wasn't a ton, like speaking from a pro player sense. Like we were signed to Misfits and like we were making a few grand a month playing Overwatch, but we pretty much only played in like online tournaments.
Yeah.
And then 4 Western teams were invited to Apex a season. And then there was Takeover 2 and then World Cup. And that was it. That was our calendar year. So I get where GB is coming from, and I wonder how things would have been different. But,
But that's also because everyone else that was running events pulled out because they recognized that there was no chance that they were going to be able to actually build profit off of this game because Blizzard was going to take everything away.
Yeah, that's true.
So why would MLG, ESL, Face It, E-League, like why would they run these events? I remember doing that Overwatch Open with E-League, and I distinctly remember asking them if they were going to do more, and they said that's entirely up to Blizzard. And now we know how that turned out.
Yeah.
So, and that was a phenomenal event. I genuinely enjoyed working that one. And just watching it as a fan, it was great too. But nope, never happened again because we ended up getting the Overwatch League. So and again, Overwatch League is great. Like I genuinely love the Overwatch League. I just wish that there was just more. Like you have these brands, you have these teams. Just give us more. And I want the local markets to do some more, right? Let NYXL host a tournament for $100,000. And bring out all the teams and just have them compete, right?
Yeah.
Like have whoever like do a qualifier. I don't know, but the reason why they don't do that, and I think it's pretty obvious, is because if let's say, I don't know, like not the dog on any teams, but let's say like Houston Outlaws, who even though they won, so good on them. Let's say the Outlaws, right, who had a struggle. Let's say that was the Outlaws that we were going to see in these competitions for qualifiers, and they didn't qualify. Then people are like, well, why the hell is this team in the league? Which I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why. That
it
we
gets
don't,
complicated. At least we have like Contenders Gauntlet and shit, but it's not the same thing. I get that. It's not the same thing. But if you start not forcing, but say you run like Overwatch League off-season tournaments and shit as well, then you get to the point where did the players ever have a break, and or will like fans be disappointed if they don't bring Sinatra or Super for like San Francisco Shock when they play? So
yeah,
it's a complicated issue because at some point in the year, like the players need a break. I think maybe the off season was a bit too long last year. Like maybe you can run stuff until like end of October, and then players can have like November, December off.
There's a lot of
I don't know.
issues of running stuff if you're running like a lockdown Overwatch League, because if you run a third-party tournament, there's like it comes into question, what does it get broadcast on? If it's not YouTube, then it's going to conflict with broadcast rights,
Yeah,
things like that.
complicated.
Which devalues your own deal when it comes to negotiation time.
Which is exactly what I just don't want Valorant to do.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but
I don't think they will either.
Talking about the Valorant similarities to the Overwatch League as well, they've also had to cancel the first hands-on gameplay events with a bunch of influencers that I believe were going to be coming out due to the coronavirus health risks stuff. They tweeted earlier on today just saying that they were canceling the events because of health risks. Because you fly people in from all over the world and they have to go through all of the airports. It's just, that would be terrible press to begin the game with, right? So,
yeah, that's really unfortunate. It goes back to the coronavirus stuff we were talking about in the last episode. But I will say, though, hate Stylos. How dare he have this badass invite, and all this stuff. And I don't get shit. And I'm on a TV show with Dwayne Johnson called The Titan Games on NBC.
Bro, your YouTube numbers are doggy doo-doo.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me like that.
That's what they care about, bro.
I'm a grown ass man. All right, respect me.
maybe they extended an invitation to the foreheads, but maybe it got lost.
Where the hell do you send it to?
Maybe got lost, bro. I don't know.
Send it to Gloucester Grill,
Yeah.
like Gloss Grill. But yeah, I'm the other thing about Valorant that I did want to touch on that I think is the funniest part about this whole thing are the Discord communities and the Twitter accounts that have been created around it. Dude, the Discord wars are real. I didn't know that this was a thing. There's like a Project Valorant Discord and then a Valorant Pro Discord, and they don't like each other because the Project Valorant Discord was like, acting as if they were the real Valorant account. But back when it was called Project A,
Yeah,
and then dude, it's great. It's like it's just wars. Like a buddy of mine, actually, this guy I know from Call of Duty, Dexbot, he actually like runs the social media for Project Valorant, and then Elvin Path, who is a guy that I knew from working in Paladins, is one of the guys that's working on the Valorant Pro Discord. It's just great.
Right.
It's just little turf wars going on the internet.
How many people?
lit.
How many people does the official Valorant Discord actually have?
Is there an official Valorant Discord?
Yeah, there is.
Have a look. Let me have a look.
5,000 or something.
It's got a lot of people in there because these social things like the Twitter and the YouTube were only set up very recently, and the amount of followers they have is huge and just growing every single day. Like the Valorant Twitter is on 250k followers, and I think it only got announced 2 days ago. I want to say, maybe it was 3 days ago.
So
I can't exactly remember.
No,
Online in the Discord alone, online doesn't show offline, is 8,500.
And then the Valorant
nuts,
YouTube
yeah.
channel as well has 64k subscribers, and that's only posted one video that has 1.4 million views. I mean, the hype around this game is real. And I think that's part of the reason why CSGO is doing insanely well right now as well. A lot of people just remembering how sick this format is for playing. The CSGO has been smashing records. It just keeps beating its peak players. The average player count and the peak player count have gone up just massively.
Yeah, and that was even before Valorant was announced as the game. We knew Project A was coming, but we didn't get the info dump, right?
Yeah.
So people are just genuinely into what's going on right now with Counter-Strike. And that just, this is the other thing, right? Because obviously Valorant's going after CS and their audience. I think that they're trying to cast a pretty wide net and then wrap in whoever they can possibly get, which is going to be hundreds of thousands. And their big play is obviously going to be the Asian market, since they have a lot of trust in that region as well. But how sick is it that Counter-Strike to this day continues to be the benchmark upon which all esports are measured?
Absolutely ridiculous.
Holy crap, dude.
That's pretty
Till
sick.
this day, like, it's that, Street Fighter, and Smash. Like, and like those are the three that have stood the test of time and have managed to just time and time again give us incredible events, dramatic storylines, top tier professional players, and they only seem to keep getting better. Like, how crazy is that? Can you imagine if Simple played like years ago? Like, that'd be fun.
That's actually the biggest reason that I'm excited about Valorant, more so than it being Riot, more so than anything else, is that it follows the same formula of CS, which is the best esports formula. It's super simple to be able to watch because you shoot man with gun and you hit in head, it do more damage. Like my dad can understand CS. He doesn't understand all the smokes and timings and stuff like that, but he can tell when someone's good because they hit people and they die. It's like super obvious at a base level, and then it's got so much depth on top of that and rich player histories and all sorts of stuff. But just the way the game is created with really tight gunplay that has a short time to kill, and then the format of the rounds where there's a tension in the round because there's a timer ticking down, and the Ts are forced to push in and the CTs have to repel them, and it's got max rounds and stuff. It's all very easy to spectate. It's very easy to tell who's winning. There's a lot of comeback potentials. The economy works in terms of balance. It's almost a perfectly designed game, I feel, for esports, that is. You compare it to other games that have these issues of like the respawn waves in 2CP in Overwatch, or just the imbalanced heroes that you can get in MOBAs and other things, which Valorant might have a bit of. It's just so fucking good.
Think about how easy it is to explain to someone who's never watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
This side is trying to plant a bomb. The other people are trying to stop them.
Yeah.
With guns. And like that's
Blue
it.
versus
That's all you
red.
need to know.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't respawn.
The only other game, it's like Street Fighter. This guy is trying to beat this guy, and once the bar goes down, that guy's done.
Yeah.
And that guy wins. Or
Rocket League. Rocket League is the other big one.
They're trying to get the ball into the goal.
Yep.
They have to defend. It's super easy. Like that is what I had a meeting today where I was actually talking to some people about esports stuff, and they were asking because I tried to explain Overwatch because I told them, oh yeah, I do some stuff in Overwatch.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain it to them.
What did you say?
And I genuinely was just like, oh, it's a shooting game where people have different characters and different abilities and different roles.
Yeah.
And there's different objectives. And like you can't really explain Overwatch.
There's 4 different game types as well.
Yeah. Years ago, when I did the E-League event, the stage manager that I worked with was this woman named Candace. She's the best. And Candace was my stage manager when I did Titan games.
Oh, wait, shit. Is that in Atlanta? E-League in Atlanta. We worked with Candace at the Atlanta homestand. She was our stage manager. She fucking rocked.
Was?
Yeah.
Dude,
well, I mean,
Candace...
I suppose it could be 2 different stage managers called Candace, but it's probably the same
blonde
one.
blonde hair. She didn't take any shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's Candace.
Yeah.
Candace is the best. Okay, so she was my my stage manager for Titan games, and we were talking about that day when I explained to her Overwatch, and I had to show her the screen and then explain each thing as it went along, and then she's like, okay, I kind of get it. So they got to take this thing and put it here. It's like, yes, that's the first game. The second game is that they have to capture this point and then capture this next point. And she's like, okay, why don't they just capture one point and hold that point? It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. And then I was like, but then there's the next game where you have to capture the point and then take the thing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, so it's like a hybrid. It's like, exactly, it's called hybrid. And then the last game is that they capture the point and then they hold the point until they get to 100%. She's like, so why can't you just do that in the other mode? And I said, that's a good question. It is complicated. I'm not trying to dog on Overwatch because I love the game, but it is an insanely complicated game.
It is, and there's nothing that you can do to solve that. Like, that's a problem that we've had from the broadcast side of it as well, is what do? Do you try and educate people on it? Like, that's really boring for people that already know things. Do you try and explain it as it goes along? Do you just hope that the players, the viewers are players and they already understand it? You're going to avoid a lot of those problems just with the base design of Valorant.
Yeah.
Because it's borrowing from CS, which just has such a phenomenally easy to understand and intuitive base design for the game.
Yeah, it's gonna be. And also, dude, I thought we'd be getting Valorant in 2021.
So did I. Holy crap! The idea that this is going to be a summer 2020 release blows my mind. They're so fast.
They made it seem like it was gonna come out in 2021, and I think that was a Giga 8 fucking head brain play that they made, because now Valorant will be out in the world in the summer when kids are home.
Yeah.
And guess who has a game coming out at the end of the year? Overwatch 2 and Halo Infinite and the new Call of Duty, and everyone's going to be playing Valorant.
They beat them all to the punch. It's crazy.
Everyone thought that they were going to beat Valorant. Everyone thought that they were going to get ahead of the market on Valorant. It ain't happening. It's a freaking that is a mecha brain play.
But even if they beat everyone to the market, the player base, people have been saying that this. Mainly trolls online have been saying that this is like, oh, it's gonna kill the so and so game. You know, it's like, not. Rainbow Six is like in trouble. Overwatch is in trouble. Bruh, the Mercy Mains ain't gonna be playing on Valorant, aren't they? They're not gonna be chucking these air grenades around corners, fam. They're gonna stick to their games because they like the characters, and it's their game. Then they're gonna stick with Overwatch, and when Overwatch 2
game's
comes out,
gonna get affected.
They're gonna buy it because they like the story mode and they like the lore. But this is, I think the Valorant will be successful for different reasons. But it is sick that it comes out early. But I think even if it came out after these games, it would still be just as successful. It's just nice that we get to play it sooner.
Yeah, it's gonna slap either way. The thing that yeah, you're right. I just Fortnite proved that there are millions more gamers out there.
Oh
that
yeah.
When there is something worth coming out of the woodwork for, they will do it.
Yeah, it's not a zero
You
sum.
gotta get the kids on
It's
board.
not a zero sum game. I mean, it's obvious that it's
Yeah.
not a zero sum game. There are different times throughout games' lives where they suddenly get major increases in player base, and people. Where have those people been? They haven't been off playing. I can't even what's the shooter called in China, the CS:GO clone.
Crossfire.
Crossfire is the one that I was thinking of. Yeah,
Sudden attack as well.
Sudden attack. Yeah, they haven't all of these people haven't just been playing that. The people that are contributing to this enormous surge in the CS:GO numbers, they just have been doing other shit.
I casted Crossfire.
You did?
I did 2 events. Yeah, did 2 Crossfire events.
Was it?
They pay very well, apparently.
They did. I got paid very well.
They pay very well.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I actually casted one with Gex.
Yes, I was going to say that Gex casted.
Yeah, I casted with Gex, WCG North Carolina.
What?
I don't remember the year, but yeah, casted with Gex. It was like a 8-team Crossfire tournament.
That's pretty sick.
And that was the most fun I had all weekend because I had to cast StarCraft and I knew nothing about it. And then I had to cast FIFA and there was no graphics. So I had no idea who was playing what. And they were both using Real Madrid. So like I had no idea what was what. I mean, that was esports back then, people. You had no graphics. I went to the ESL guy. I was just like, hey, I went to Craig. He's gonna give me shit for this if he ever hears it. I was like, hey, Craig, could I get some graphics for FIFA? He was like, they didn't pay for that. And I was like, interesting. Well, I need graphics because otherwise I can't commentate this video game effectively. And he's like, all right, we'll put some text on screen. That was it.
Text on screen.
Nice.
Oh, bro.
That's
Esports,
good shit.
baby. How long we are right now?
We're at 1 hour 6.
Whoa, shit. This was supposed to be a short episode because Bren's dying.
Yeah, sorry, Bren.
But Valorant's just too fun to talk about, honestly.
We're going to be talking more about Valorant because there's a lot to dissect. I mean, there's the fact that, you know, the event got canceled. What does that mean? Blizzard, or we did touch on it briefly. Blizzard said that a beta coming this week is 100% false. When are we going to see the beta?
Oh, Riot, you mean?
There's a
sorry, Riot.
on the subreddit submitted an hour ago that someone leaked that it is coming in 3 weeks, but they might just be bullshit. So we'll bring it up next episode, see if it's true or not.
Well, the source for that, and we're just going to say this and then end it, was Eurogamer, which actually isn't all that, it's not a source that I would be like, oh yeah, no, they're lying. Like Eurogamer's like pretty legit. So it'll be interesting. Valorant is here.
Yeah.
And there you have it. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the Foreheads podcast. Thank y'all so much for listening. As always, if you want to leave a comment, want to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, go on and do so. You can also rate us there as well. Follow us on Spotify. Leave a comment on YouTube. Want to hear from you guys and what you have to say about Valorant. Really curious about your perspectives. Last episode, Owen Pat said, Johnny, my ears are bleeding. Please consider taking levels before show or using a compressor, you mong. Or there was another one.
To start with.
He didn't say you mong, but Boris Johnson's child, by far the best joke this podcast has ever seen.
Oh, I thought he was about to say Boris Johnson's child. I hate you, and I thought he was going to call me. But anyway,
we already did last episode.
Yeah, but I thought he was continuing it and was going to come out with something. I don't know. Listen, my brain ain't working.
There we go. All right,
finally,
folks.
wholesome story. 1 minute. Here we go.
Okay.
Astonishing survey shows blue whales maybe making a comeback. So hell yeah,
let's go blue whales.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's because of the rising sea temperatures means that krill are more abundant.
Oh my god! I thought you were going to say the rising sea levels mean there's more space for them in the ocean.
Okay, wait. I was going to say that. Does that make me
The preliminary data does not suggest it has been a particularly unusual krill year.
Gentlemen, the preliminary data doesn't provide us with enough intel to...
Oh God.
All right, boys. That's going to do it. Thank you so much for listening to the Four Heads. Give us all the love on social media. Comment on YouTube. Let us know what you think about Valorant. And we will talk about it in the next episode. We'll catch you on the flippity flip. Peace. Later.
Bye.
Oh, peace.
Bye.